We all live in a society where we are all constantly evolving, whether it is having the latest and greatest phones, or driving the fastest cars, or even wearing the finest clothes to impress our coworkers or classmates. We constantly evolve and try to create the perfect lives for ourselves. We tend to throw away our old things and replace them with something newer. In December 1955, Herbert Simon and Alan Newell had the same ideas. The two invented a device that would later change the world and how we live in it as a whole. The two created AI, or artificial intelligence. The whole idea behind it was to create more comfortable and better lives for humans to live in. This device would ultimately lead to being put in smartphones, video games, and even medical devices. Mankind has significantly benefited all these years and has used AI in our everyday lives. However, I believe that this could also hinder society and make things worse in the long run. As time goes on, things will always progress and society will change. Maybe progression isn't always a good thing. Artificial intelligence will inevitably overpower human intelligence as a whole. After listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Elon Musk, it opened my eyes to a whole new way of thinking. For a little background information, Joe Rogan runs the most successful podcast globally, averaging millions of views per episode. While I accidentally put a period, erasing the period. Elon Musk is the creator and CEO of multiple billion-dollar companies such as PayPal, along with others, Tesla, and even SpaceX. So it is safe to say that Elon knows quite a bit when it comes to talking about AI and electronics. Considering a popularized self-driving, Elon knows quite a bit about electronics, considering replace the A with he. Considering he popularized self-driving vehicle, should be an S at the end, vehicles, revolutionizing the way we make online transactions and even created rocket ships. He has even started a project, should be that he, instead of called, should be calls, the Neuralink. That changed to this would. This would be a chip to put into people's brains to search out any illnesses they may have, and it could also make humans smarter. Anyhow, Joe Rogan had invited Elon Musk onto his podcast to talk about issues going on in our world today. During the podcast, Joe Rogan asked Elon, "What happened? What happened with you where you decided or took on a more fatalistic attitude? Like, what was there any specific thing, or was it just the inevitability of our future?" Before Joe had asked this, their conversation was going perfectly. They were laughing and enjoying each other's company the whole time. After, should be he asked this, there was a mood change in the room. Elon paused for a brief 4 to 5 seconds. His eyes were glazed over. He looked like he was experiencing PTSD or deja vu, almost as if he had seen something horrifying in his past. Elon later responded with, "I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years," said Elon. After hearing this, I knew that we were in for a different future in the years to come. I never quite realized how rapidly our world was changing and how far we have come with technology. Even the internet is relatively new. It was only created in the late 1960s. If we have come this far, there is no telling what could happen in our future. Artificial intelligence will inevitably overpower human intelligence as a whole because of its lack of emotion or feeling, its constant improvements, and its never-ending lifespan. Artificial intelligence has no feeling or emotions, making it immune to human reasoning or thinking. Because robots are made of metal and plastic, it is highly unlikely that they will ever have the kinds of inputs from bodies to help them determine the experiences that people have, the feelings that are much more than mere judgments. I put the name of the whole professor who has a PhD in psychology, but it should have the last name and the page number from the book. Robots do not think the same way humans do. They are machines. A robot has done... Oh, wait. Sorry. A robot... I put a robot does not, but it should be a robot does not feel. A robot does not feel, nor can they understand what humans are going through on an emotional level. This all means that while a human has to deal with emotional trauma, a robot does not. Robots can discard their emotions Robots can discard their emotions which slow them down and focus on other things to develop their minds. Artificial intelligence is continuously improving and at a faster rate than the average human. Using AI also puts human at a risk of unemployment. Companies are creating robots to have a cheaper and quicker work environment. Mechanized looms reduced artisan weavers to poverty. The tractor forced millions out of jobs, and robotics has sliced countless workers in all types of manufacturing. The increasing integration of AI will ultimately lead to greater productivity in the near term, the result of which has historically led to culls and unemployment, according to the UBS, the evolution of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence will live on forever because it does not age, it only grows. Robots are machines, meaning they are immortal and cannot die from natural causes as humans can. Today, people are building robots to self-evolve depending on the circumstances in which they need to. Erasing a period. That should just all be one sentence. We are teaching robots to evolve autonomously so that they can adapt to life alone on distant planets, according to Hart on page 3. Emma Hart has a chemistry degree from the University of Oxford and a master's degree of artificial intelligence from the University of Edinburgh. We came before robots, but they will live longer than we could ever imagine. My opposition may note all the beautiful things robots can do for our society. Replacing the A with our. Like make everyday tasks easier and make life better. However, that may not be the case. AI can cause laziness and a lack of jobs for most human beings. According to Vision Maluarchi, who has a PhD in computational geonomics, people nowadays hardly do any work involving true manual labor. In the modern context, there is less need for people to move around. Intelligent applications provide us with the solutions to buy everything we need online. We can order all our groceries from online stores without having to walk to the supermarket downtown. I'm not suggesting that this is totally bad, but has become responsible up to some extent for making us sick with overweight, diabetes, and high blood pressure, according to Malavucci on page number 2. Well, now that laziness has been addressed, I still have to bring up all the hardworking people who would who would eventually become unemployed. According to Robots and Jobs, evidence from U.S. labor markets published by the National Bureau of Economic Research, each additional robots in the U.S. economy reduces employment by 5.6, and every robot that has added to the workforce per 1,000 human workers causes wages to drop by as much as 0.25 to 0.5%. Artificial intelligence will inevitably overpower human intelligence as a whole because of its lack of emotion or feeling, its constant improvements, and its never-ending lifespan. Artificial intelligence robots are now even being constructed to look and feel like humans. Soon it will be impossible to be able to tell a robot and a human apart. Currently, there is a robot named Sophia that is already in construction. Former Disney Imagineer David Hadson constructed Sophia, as quoted by David Hadson, modeled in part after Audrey Hepburn and Hanson's wife. The robot was built to mimic social behaviors in humans. Once artificial intelligence has been fully built, there will be no need for humans. Humans take too long to think, they carry too much baggage, emotional baggage, and cannot last as long as robots do. Robots will eventually see flaws with humans and will want to replace us. As mentioned previously, humans need the latest and greatest technology to live and prosper. Maybe one day, robots will develop the same way of thinking and realize they too require the latest and most extraordinary things that life has to offer. Furthermore, maybe one day, humans will no longer be needed. Maybe one day, we will not be the latest and greatest. Perhaps humans will one day become obsolete and will be thrown in the trash, just like we did to all of our old devices.